After my husband's death, my in-laws feared no one would care for them in their old age. They schemed to marry me off to my brother-in-law, keeping me in the countryside to serve them while he married the factory director's heiress in the city. That night, my husband appeared in my dream forbidding the marriage. So I turned their plot around, delivering Maggie to my brother-in-law's bed and ensuring the factory heiress caught them red-handed. Chapter 1. At dawn, Mom Brown summoned me to the main hall. Sensing tension, I asked anxiously, "Mom, what's wrong?" She sighed heavily, clutching my hands with feigned sympathy. "Emily, we've wronged you. David left us so suddenly, abandoning his elderly parents." My fingers twisted my shirt hem at the mention of David's death 6 months prior. Though my heart ached seeing their grief, I swallowed the bitterness. It was an accident. No one's to blame. Tears streaked Mom Brown's cheeks. "Your father and I are growing old. Without protection, you'll face worse harassment as a widow." Her words unleashed my pent-up tears. Since becoming a widow, neighbors' judgmental stares and local troublemakers' advances had multiplied daily. Leaning closer, she whispered conspiratorially, "David died without an heir. We've decided you'll marry Michael to continue his brother's line." I recoiled as if electrocuted. "What? You can't mean that. Michael will make this sacrifice so David's spirit can rest." She persisted. "Never." I backed away. "This isn't the Dark Ages. I won't remarry within the family." That evening, Mom Brown staged a hunger strike while Dad Brown accused me of disrespecting David's memory. Reluctantly, I agreed to consider their madness. Next morning, Michael blocked my path, sneering, "Emily, still clinging to my dead brother? You actually think I'd marry you?" Rage boiled within me. This man had destroyed my life 5 years earlier when his family tricked me into marrying David instead after Michael rescued me from drowning. "Take your complaints to your parents," I snapped. His face twisted in disgust. "Stop pretending. No educated woman would demand this backward arrangement. Stay away from me." I turned away, memories flashing of my coerced wedding to gentle, disabled David. The Browns' deception had trapped me then, now their new scheme would fail too. "All right. I'll go talk to Mom and Dad right now. You come too." After saying this, I went straight to confront Mother Brown. "Let's see what tricks you can pull." Michael followed me into the parlor. When Mother Brown saw us entering one after another, she froze momentarily before forcing a smile. "Emily, Michael, you too." I cut straight to the chase. "Mom, I've thought about your proposal. I refuse." Michael here also disagrees. "Let's never bring this up again." Michael suddenly erupted in anger. "Mom, how could you even suggest such nonsense?" His voice rose several octaves, torn between disbelief and humiliation. "Marry some country bumpkin? Me? I'm a college graduate." I slipped out quietly, leaving them to their argument. "I thought the matter was settled until Mother Brown informed me days later," he agreed. "What?" I stared in shock. She nodded triumphantly. "Michael just needed time. Your father and I convinced him. We want our family whole." Even after David, her voice broke as she wiped tears. I bit my tongue, knowing Michael would never consent willingly. The pressure must have been unbearable. During Qingming Festival, I poured out my troubles at David's grave. I'd rather face society's scorn than marry that scheming, contemptuous. That night, David appeared in my dream. "Remarry if you must, but never to Michael." I woke drenched in cold sweat. At dawn, I confronted Mother Brown. "David visited me last night. He forbids this marriage. Dreams mean the opposite." She insisted, crossing my arms. I stood firm. "My answer remains no. If the Browns won't house me, I'll leave." Michael strode in then, sneering, Stop playing the martyr. I'm sacrificing myself to honor Mom and Dad's wishes. Clenching my fists, I retorted. Believe what you want. This wedding won't happen. I resolved to write my parents about relocating. At the post office, I spotted Michael with a fashionable young woman in polka dots. They lingered over expensive imported cosmetics at the supply cooperative. The clerk gushed when I inquired, "That's Autumn Taylor, steel mill director's daughter. Her beau spends fortunes here weekly." Ice flooded my veins. The Browns had starved themselves funding Michael's education. Yet he squandered money on this socialite? Even David's coffin had been the cheapest pine wood. Dazed, I wandered home past Maggie's cottage. The widow took one look at my face and wordlessly offered me water. Margaret Smith was nearly 40. It was said that when she married into the family over a decade ago, her husband already had a first love and opposed this arranged marriage. He later drowned trying to save his beloved. Some claimed he'd never consummated the marriage out of disdain, which led Margaret to flirt with other men, making her every village woman's enemy. While my husband David Brown was alive, I held no animosity toward her. We'd exchange greetings but never bonded. After David's death, our shared widowhood brought occasional conversations, though we never dwelled on sorrows. I'd considered telling the Browns about Michael's behavior, but feared their reaction. Troubled by these thoughts, I drifted into sleep only to hear David's voice calling me. Remembering the letter I'd sent agreeing to remarry, guilt surged through me. I tried to explain, but saw David looking frantic, shouting, "Don't marry Michael. They're lying to you. It's all fake." His words tumbled incoherently as if conveying urgent truth. Suddenly crushed by suffocating weight, I kicked with all my strength. A loud thud followed. Moonlight revealed Michael writhing on the floor, clutching his groin, sweat dripping. How did he get in my room? My torn collar exposed his intentions. Seizing the moment, I threw blankets over Michael and escaped through the low window. Ironically grateful poverty prevented home renovations. Mrs. Brown's panicked voice carried through the night. "Michael, what happened? Where's Emily?" "That bitch Emily," Michael groaned, acting confused. I entered from outside. "Parents? Why's Michael in my room?" The Browns claimed Michael had drunkenly stumbled into the wrong room. But David's warning and their flimsy excuse revealed darker truths. Why would college-educated Michael, soon to marry Autumn Taylor, factory director's daughter, need me? This reeked of conspiracy. Since the intrusion, I'd barricaded doors nightly. One eavesdropping session exposed the horrifying scheme. Emily became rebellious after David died. "Mr. Brown hissed, if she remarries, who'll care for us? Autumn's a city girl, she won't." Mrs. Brown praised, brilliant, making Emily marry both brothers. No fifth person needs to know. Michael can keep his job and city bride while we keep our caretaker. Ice filled my veins. They'd planned this all along, even Michael's initial reluctance. That night they nearly trapped me, counting on my obedience to force the sham marriage. But I wasn't their pawn anymore. Who would have thought she'd kick Michael in the groin and run away? This matter shouldn't be rushed. We need to make her serve us willingly. First, we'll sweeten the deal to coax her. I clamped my hand over my mouth, terrified of making a sound. What kind of den of wolves had I stumbled into? Their kindness wasn't honey but poison. If I hadn't overheard them today, I'd still be grateful. When the Browns brought up me marrying David again, I agreed, but demanded a proper ceremony. It didn't need to be grand. Just enough to gather the neighbors. The Browns looked displeased. Michael exploded, "Emily, don't push your luck. We're only marrying you out of respect for my parents." I sneered inwardly. Respect? More like sacrificing me to secure their family's promotions, retirement, and using me as their stepping stone. Keeping my face neutral, I said, "Mom, Dad, I'm not forcing Michael. Without neighbors as witnesses, everyone will still see me as a widow. Didn't you say yourself, widows attract gossip? A proper ceremony would stop rumors. Besides, I wouldn't want to harm Michael's reputation. I've heard bad rumors could block job promotions. With educated youth returning home competing for work, Michael glared murderously while his parents exchanged looks. Mrs. Brown forced a smile. Emily dear, we'll arrange it. Michael protested. Mom, what if Autumn, Mr. Brown cut him off. Later, they somehow convinced Michael, though he glared daggers at me. Happy now? Emily? Delighted. Their scheme would crumble. The Browns probably thought neighborhood witnesses meant nothing, no marriage certificate. Michael's future city job and bride. And villagers wouldn't spread news to Autumn. Yet Michael acted the victim. We held 2 tables, inviting nearby families. Seeing Michael's funeral-like face, they pitied him. Such a good boy, our village's only college graduate. What a shame, Maggie interjected. What's shameful? Widows make experienced wives. The crowd stiffened. Someone snapped. Maggie. Nobody invited you. She shrugged. Can't a widow share the Browns' joy? People mocked. Dreaming of remarrying at 40? Maggie left for the outhouse. The neighbors comforted the Browns. Don't mind her. Michael drank sullenly. Face thunderous. Even the thought of using me shamed him. Seeing his reaction, the others couldn't press further. Mr. and Mrs. Brown forced smiles and announced. Emily's also a good girl. After David passed, we worried she'd struggle. We had to ask Michael to shoulder this burden. But having our family whole means we can die in peace. Auntie, let's not talk like this on a happy day. Neighbors quickly interjected. Had I not overheard their scheme, I might have been moved to tears. Just as Mrs. Brown predicted, their honeyed words could have tricked me into serving them forever. How stupid I'd been. Michael kept downing liquor, soon slurring his words. His self-medication spared me needing to spike his drink. When his bowl shattered on the ground, experienced elders rushed to salvage the moment. Breaking things brings peace. It's auspicious. Emily, your husband's drunk. Help him inside. Someone urged. I reached for him only to be shoved away. Don't touch me, he slurred, sending me sprawling. The crowd stirred with mixed pity. Don't mind him. Emily. Mrs. Brown fawned. He's too drunk to recognize anyone. Let's get him to bed. Their performative concern barely hid their distrust. They feared I'd take advantage of his stupor. Guests murmured praises between peanut shells. Such a dutiful daughter-in-law. Smart to keep good things in the family. Their hollow comforts tasted bitter. Everyone knew the Browns wanted free caretakers, inventing this marriage to stop me from remarrying elsewhere. As dusk fell, I anxiously watched the road. My planned rescue hadn't arrived. Stalling, I passed out wedding candies. Stay longer. Have more treats. Children's pockets bulged with sweets while adults marveled at my generosity. Oblivious to the storm coming, the gasp came when a city-dressed girl appeared. Floral sundress, patent leather shoes radiating metropolitan gloss. Is this the Brown residence? She chirped, doe eyes sparkling. Rural aunties gawked at this alien creature. The Browns froze, recognition dawning. The moment Autumn entered, her face turned pale with panic, as if she wanted to immediately chase everyone away. The aunt who'd spoken earlier, oblivious to the Browns' strange reaction, heard the girl was looking for Michael and chimed in cheerfully. Oh dear. You're in the right place. This is Michael's. Today's his wedding. Are you here for the reception? Though I'm afraid you're late, we've already finished eating. Wedding? Autumn stood frozen, clearly doubting her own hearing. Of course. The wedding banquet, the aunt kept talking until she suddenly noticed the Browns' ashen faces. Autumn's arrival completely derailed their plans, leaving them flustered and panicked. I stepped forward. "Comrade, are you Michael's classmate? Let me take you to him." The Browns visibly relaxed, grateful I hadn't caused a scene. Their plan was simple: get Autumn inside and close the door. As long as I kept quiet, they could hide the truth from her. But when I opened the door, we all saw Michael with another woman. I shifted to give Autumn and the Browns a clear view of the scene. Their faces twisted in disgust when they recognized Maggie straddling their son. The older woman tried pushing me inside to shut the door, but I stood firm on the threshold. What are you doing?" I screamed. "Michael! You're marrying me today but sleeping with. My fake sobs echoed as wedding guests swarmed like vultures. Everyone despised Maggie. She disappeared to the outhouse earlier, but now reappeared disheveled on top of Michael, who kept groping her drunkenly despite the audience. "This wasn't my fault," Maggie protested, clutching her clothes. "Michael dragged me in here. Look, he's still touching me. Men can't keep their pants on." Maggie sneered as Michael's hands wandered under her skirt. "Autumn. I'm different," Michael slurred, finally noticing his fiancée. He shoved Maggie off and stumbled up naked, vomit-inducing evidence swaying in the air. Autumn retched violently, spewing bile onto the horrified Browns. They scrambled to lock Maggie inside with Michael. Through the door, we heard the older woman shrieking "homewrecker," followed by slaps and hair pulling. The chaos peaked when the village chief arrived with red armband officials, exactly during the leadership inspection period they'd been warned about. The chief's face darkened like storm clouds. Wedding guests scattered silently, leaving the Browns to face consequences for ruining the village's production quota chances. I had to step forward. "Village head. I'm sorry. My husband just passed away 6 months ago, and my in-laws already want me to marry his younger brother. But Michael has someone else in his heart." Tears streamed down my face. I truly didn't know he loved Maggie. Otherwise, I'd never have agreed to this arrangement. The village head glared at me furiously for airing this dirty laundry publicly. The visiting official frowned. "Village head Brown, how could such backward customs still exist in your village?" Village head Brown hastily apologized. "Sir, this is my oversight." I interrupted. "Don't blame him. My in-laws swore us to secrecy. I wouldn't have spoken up if Michael hadn't, with his beloved, in the wedding chamber." My voice broke dramatically. The door finally creaked open under village head Brown's command, revealing Maggie and Mrs. Brown clawing at each other's hair, clothes torn, faces scratched. Mr. Brown and Michael stood crimson-faced behind them. "Michael!" I wailed. "You're our village's only college graduate. How could you act this irresponsibly? If you abuse power like this after getting your government position, you're just my brother's used goods." Michael exploded. "You think you're worthy of..." His father clamped a hand over his mouth. The village head turned ashen as Maggie collapsed theatrically. "I'm ruined! A widow violated by an educated brute. Will no one defend common people like me?" The visiting official observed coldly. Village head Brown. "Considering this college graduate's job assignment is pending this month's evaluations, perhaps we should re-examine his qualifications. High education means nothing without moral integrity." Michael's family froze, their decade-long investment in his education now teetering. "Emily," Village head Brown asked gravely, "do you truly wish to marry into this family?" "Never." "And Maggie?" The room held its breath. Emily thought of Maggie, who shyly lowered her head. I was stunned. This wasn't the plan. Weren't we supposed to act out the scene where I'd give her $100? So when she was in bed with Michael earlier, was that real? My mind went blank. Maggie had clearly improvised her own subplot. Chief Brown said with visible strain. "In that case, you two should get married." "Thank you, Chief," Maggie replied, maintaining her demure act. The Browns and Michael reacted as if struck by lightning. Michael protested most vehemently, "Chief, you can't force this. She's practically old enough to be my mother." Maggie huffed. "What's wrong with being older? Don't they say an older woman knows how to take care of her man? My widow status doesn't make us compatible." The mother-in-law burst into tears. "Our second son was drunk and doesn't remember anything. How could this woman become our daughter-in-law?" Chief Brown snapped. "Drunkenness isn't an excuse. Should we pardon arson or murder next? And what's wrong with Mrs. Smith? If he found her so objectionable, why did he sleep with her?" Turning to me, the mother-in-law pleaded through tears, "Emily, tell them you'll marry our second son. Make the chief take back his decision. You've always been filial. Your father and I can't handle this shock in our old age." I stepped back from her grasping hands. If Michael did this, he must face the consequences. The chief isn't showing favoritism. Would you have me force him to violate his principles? My words implicitly referenced their previous scheme to make me marry both Brown brothers. Michael suddenly glared at me with realization. "This is revenge, isn't it? For tricking you into marrying my crippled brother David all those years ago. You've been pretending to be dutiful. But it's all an act. Now you're destroying our family." The crowd froze. Chief Brown looked ready to strangle someone, while the visiting officials grew livid. "We'll document everything, including how this fraud got into college without proper exams." Michael's college admission had indeed been arranged through the chief's connections, draining the family savings. Chief Brown turned pale. This investigation could ruin him. "Michael will marry Mrs. Smith today," the chief declared. "I'll personally oversee the paperwork. Refuse, and we'll charge you with moral corruption." Seizing the moment, I requested freedom from the Browns. "David's gone. Let me take what I've earned these years." Kneeling, I added, "We handed every cent to Mother Brown. If you cast me out penniless, I'll starve." "We spent it all on Michael's education," she wailed. "But he bought Autumn $50 cold cream recently," I countered. An official interjected. "State colleges provide stipends. Students pay nothing." The revelation made me snap. I lunged at Michael, clawing his face. "You blood-sucking parasite." As chaos ensued, the mother-in-law hissed. "David died without an heir. Marry Michael to continue his line." Ultimately, the officials forced the Browns to give me $2,000 in supplies. They secured me a dishwasher job at state-run diner. Months later, I spotted Maggie on the streets, her wedding ring glinting in the sunlight. I asked her why she changed her mind. She said she got hooked after her first taste of intimacy with a man. Later, Michael's academic credentials got revoked. When Autumn's parents learned about Michael's actions, they sent people to beat him up. Michael ended up with a broken leg. With the Brown family's branch secretary keeping close watch, the whole household finally settled down. Now Maggie runs the household. The elderly parents-in-law resent yet helplessly accept this daughter-in-law nearly their own age. Seeing she seemed content, I didn't comment. That night, I dreamed of David again. When I told him about the Brown family affairs, the crease between his eyebrows smoothed out and his eyes lit up with a smile, the first time I'd ever seen him smile, both in life and dreams. After that night, I never dreamed of him again. I worked as a dishwasher at a government-run restaurant. Being quick-handed, I got promoted to prep work. After bonding with the chefs, they taught me professional cooking skills. Later, I joined the Southern migration wave for work, not wanting to waste my training from the head chef. I opened a diner that grew into a banquet hall. I never crossed paths with Michael or his crowd again. My business kept expanding while I attended night classes, traveling to different cities whenever possible to broaden my horizons.